Hi there, I'm Ricky. This is
Joshua.
and this is
Laser.
So what I want to talk about today is how to get your kids into classical music. Obviously, you got to introduce them to it, right? You got to listen to it for them to like it. But there's a few different strategies that we've used in the house that have really helped to get the kids immersed in music in general, but specifically also into classical music. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Obviously, one of the most important things is to introduce them to music in the first place. And how do you do that? Well, that's to give them instruments like this, right, guys?
Yeah.
How do we play music? 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, good job, guys. Okay, sit down. So obviously, that's the best way to get them into music in the first place. To introduce them to music is to let them play for themselves. Let them be creative. Let them make as much noise as they want. I know that can be dangerous at times, but that's how they express themselves. It's how they get some of that energy out, and it's also how they figure out that music is something that we do creatively. It's a way that we can create. So that's the first thing, is to introduce them to music. Now, specifically to introduce them to classical music, there's a couple of different strategies that we have used. And that is not to just start off with the elevator music, right? So we've done a couple of different things to introduce them to classical music. Because a lot of times people think of classical music as elevator music, and it's slow, and it's boring, and all of that. But it's not the case. It's not true. There's some beautiful classical music, and we want the kids to be able to experience that. And there's a couple of things that we've done for that. So one of the great tips that I would give you is, in order to introduce your kids to classical music, you got to introduce them to something that they already like. Our kids love to watch movies, and so all movies have soundtracks. So by listening to those movie soundtracks, we're also allowing them, one, to remember the movie that they're listening to, and to connect that with the music. So we can see the power that the music has in part of the film that they love so much. But it also invokes emotion. There's the sad, slow songs. There's the strong fighting music, and all of these different scenes. And what we've seen is when we play this music for them, when they're listening to it, they're able to almost pick out some of the scenes from these movies that they love. So that's one of the things that we've done that has really allowed them to get into classical music. So one of our favorite movies is Star Wars. And so what we've done is we listen to the Star Wars music, legendary Star Wars music from John Williams. He's done the scores for the first 7 films, but we love John Williams music, and we've allowed the kids to experience that both through watching the Star Wars films and listening to the music from the movies. So let's see. How does Darth Vader music go? Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. What other Star Wars songs do you know?
This one.
Bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, bum, ba, 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 bum. So you see, the kids know these classic songs. They know this music, both because they've watched the movies and because we listen to the scores from these movies all the time. One of the other movies that we love is Pirates of the Caribbean. We go to Disneyland all the time, and we love the ride. How does the song go on the ride, Joshua? Yo ho, the pirate's life for me. And on the new movies, the Jack Sparrow and Pirates of the Caribbean that Disney came out with, we love to listen to the music from that as well. How does the music from Jack Sparrow go? Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. Bum ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum. Bum ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 bum. So we love Jack Sparrow and Pirates of the Caribbean and the music that comes with it. So you can see by listening to music from movies, how the kids can get so excited and into the music from the movies that they love. So that's our first tip for today. One of the other things that we love to do, and which has helped a lot to introduce them to classical music, particularly classical music, is to watch Little Einsteins. Remember that show, guys?
Yeah.
And on Little Einsteins, it's a beautiful way. It's a cartoon. It's put out by, I think is that Disney Junior? I think it's Disney Junior. I'm not sure. So on Little Einstein, they explore classical music by Beethoven, Bach, all of these, the famous classical artists. And so we love to watch Little Einsteins, and that's a great way to introduce them to some of the best classical music. So those are some of the great tips that we use to introduce kids to classical music. And of course, they're not going to get into it if you're not into it. So you got to enjoy classical music as well. So one of the things that we do is when we're riding in the car, instead of listening to the radio, we'll listen to Spotify. Spotify is a great app that you can get on your phone. We have to use the premium version because otherwise we have to listen to commercials, and we can't stand commercials, right guys?
Yeah.
Because we want music. That's what it's all about. So it's $10 a month, I think, for Spotify. We have the premium version, and that way we don't have to deal with any commercials, and you can specifically pick the songs that you want to hear. If you don't have the premium version, Spotify is going to mix in other stuff that you don't necessarily want to hear, and you get stuck with all the ads. So we listen to Spotify Premium, and we're going to share some of our playlists with you so you can listen to some of the music that we listen to when we're riding in the car or when we're just at home and we have fun with the kids. And they say that singing and dancing and listening to music with your kids is a very powerful tool for the development of their brains. You guys want to play some more music for the people?
Yeah.
Okay, who's going to do the piano? You? You gonna do the drum?
Yeah.
Get the drum. So we leave you with that, our tips for getting your kids into music, and in particular, classical music. So we're gonna play some music for you because that's what we love to do, right guys?
Yeah.
Play your drums, Liza. Rock and roll. Put another time in this is my baby. I love rock and roll. And join us on the drum flight. We'll see you later. Bye guys.